Yo, what's good? It's your boy Jay So tapping in, man. And look, this is the first episode of Sim Premier Boxing where we're going to be covering simulation and emulation in the Undisputed game with different fighters, or we're going to be talking about matches that we've had with people, covering those, having reviews, everything we've been doing, but it's now going to be under Sim Premier Boxing. Unfortunately, I'm not affiliated with SBA anymore, which is a-okay, bro. That's fine. I have the mental space where I can kind of just do whatever I need to do. I was actually helping that league just for the love of it, man, because I had love for the league. I love the sim. I love the community. That was super cool. But I had a disagreement with somebody, and guess that person felt like it was okay to delete me off of the league. So now we're here, so I'm gonna keep pushing forward, man. And shout out to everybody there, Jimmy, Cold Blooded, shout out to Rich, Zeno, my boy JB Smooth, everybody, man. Magix, yo, shout out to everybody. Chill Cosby, one love, man. I have no issues with any of y'all, man, or anybody at the SBA. Y'all cool, man. I just think it's being ran a little crazy, so I gotta just keep it pushing and keep doing me, bro. So appreciate y'all guys, but let's get into it, man. This is the first SPB Sim Premier Boxing video where we're gonna be covering Julio Cesar Chavez. I've been simming with him for a minute, so I kind of like got an understanding of him. Of course, practice makes perfect. I think the more you do it, the better things get over time. So I'm not the best player in Undisputed. I'm not gonna say that. I'm a person who loves to practice simulation and help out the community and give back. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Let's go ahead and dive in it. Let's go. Yo, what's good, guys? So we are in Punch Power Gym, which is Sim Premier's Boxing's training ground, and we're gonna be going over how to emulate and simulate Julio Cesar Chavez, El Gran Campeon, the Mexican legend. We are going to figure out how to emulate him as best as we can, and of course simulate, because without emulation there is no simulation, and that's something that we gotta definitely keep in mind of. So when we're moving with our stance with Chavez, he has a wide stance, some simple, normal, and then his guard, which is his high guard. So you want to L2 R2 for manual blocking. Remember, every time we're playing sim, we're manual blocking. So L2 first, R2, that's how you manual block. You're not just pressing R2 because you're closing up here. I don't mind pressing R2 to catch punches, R2 to catch. If a punch is coming in, you R2 it, you catch it, you tap it. But if you're holding coming forward, no, this is not what we want. We want to try to catch, so L2 R2, that's our high guard, and you can shift around in the guard, understand? And then if I have a pro controller, so I have my left trigger mapped to this side button on my pro controller, so when I need to block bottom, I just hit that side trigger and look, I block bottom. So that's what you're doing. So, mainly just, manual blocking and blocking bottom. Yeah, so that's the stance. That's his stance and his guard for Julio Cesar Chavez. All right, so now let's talk about footwork and ring movement. So off top, his ring generalship ring movement, he's in the center of the ring, or he's either pushing his opponent back. He's never really doing this, never really moving backwards like this, or fighting against the ropes. That's not the Chavez way. That is not how he fights. He is a pure Mexican pressure fighter. His goal is to get the guy against the ropes and start teeing off. So you want to make sure that your footwork, you're always applying pressure. You're always on, making your foe uncomfortable and moving clockwise around him. Don't just stand in front. Don't just stand in front of your opponent. You want to get away from his power hand. So in this case, Hector Macho Camacho's power hand is that left, so you just definitely want to get away from it. Clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever you're doing, getting away from it, finding angles, so you just don't want to stay in front of your opponent and just let them tee off. You want to make sure that you're also moving around, and if you do need to stay and bang, and you can, great, but I would advise to move around, get in, and start trying to find your shots and making your opponent miss without doing any type of step backs like this, because he really doesn't do this. He really doesn't do step backs or kind of like these side steps. That's really not the way, unless he's sidestepping into a punch like this. That you can do that, but just don't spam it, because then that's when it just doesn't become sim. So you want to make sure that you're just using the L1 button to like move around clockwise, you know, from on your opponent, and not just standing straight in front of them all the time. The next part is probably my favorite part, which is slips and head movement. So my favorite part about Chavez is his slips. You know, he has that peekaboo style, so you're not staying on the center line to get hit by any jabs or straight. Like you really want to like time your slips and your and your weaves when you're facing an opponent. You want to make sure that you're slipping, and when you do make him miss, you know, you want to definitely capitalize on that, either go to the body or go to the top, you know, get some counters, and make sure you're putting some punches together. Don't just one punch it. Like, you know, Chavez has punches in bunches, so definitely put 2 or 3 together, you know. But definitely the head movement, you're coming in, you're closing into your opponent, you're making sure that you're using your head movement. You're trying to, like, you know, not just manual block all the time, you know, which you can, but, you know, also get used to keeping that head off the center line, making your opponent miss, moving, bobbing and weaving. So, you know, when you're moving around them, make sure you're slipping, bam, it kind of looks natural, you know, make it look as natural as you can, you know. And doing some slips. So the slips that I find that are effective are the down slip, top slip, and then bottom. So, you know, he usually slips under a jab and bam, like, you know, response, slips under a jab, bam, bam, like. So I feel like that those are good works. Those are good movements, you know, as well. So you want that bottom slip, that top slip, and then that forward slip to where you can just duck under a jab, boom, and then just have an opportunity to capitalize on him. Doesn't really do a lot of back ones, you know. Maybe you can kind of like do a lean back weave, like if they're kind of coming close, you know, make it look like he's just boom boom, like, you know, trying to move away from it. Don't make it seem like, you know, he's doing this and, you know, we're doing this. Is a big hell no. We don't do this in sim. This is the lean back block. The, you know, it's cheesing. So you want to make sure, you know, if you want to do it, you can lean back weave and not keep the guard up, but make sure that you're you know, you're coming back to it and utilizing those slips and dips, you know, and then utilizing that head movement, making sure, like, you know, hey, if you are doing the peekaboo style, and you can literally L1 it, and then when you feel like, you know, throwing up the guard to you know, block, you know, keeping that peekaboo guard going, and just, you know, moving your stick, so you know, you see how he's slipping. If you're in like a pocket like right here, those punches to the top are going to miss. Look, check this out. Man, oh my bad. I guess not. I don't know what's going on, but look, they usually miss. Hector Camacho is smart there. But yeah, anyways, you're just, you know, you kind of keep it here. You want to make sure that you're bobbing and weaving under these punches, you're moving, and then you're keeping your guard up. All right, so let's talk about like parrying punches. So when your opponent's trying to attack, like, of course we're not using the auto block. So what we're doing is, you know, aside from manual blocking, we can catch a punch. I just tapped it. You see that? I'm tapping the block and I'm trying to catch. You want to time it, but don't continuously try to catch a block, because now you're just, it's auto blocking in a way, because now you're just spamming the auto block. You want to make sure that you're utilizing your manual blocking as much, but if there's a chance where you feel like you can time it and a opponent's trying to throw a punch, R1 it, auto block that, you know, auto block that punch, boof, you're catching it in. So you're not really auto blocking, you're timing his punching coming in, you know. So that works. And that also works at when you're at the when you're doing blocking to the body, you know, because sometimes the manual blocking doesn't really cover the body so much. But if they're going to the body and you want to try to catch that block to the body, bam, hit that block, boom. So you're kind of catching the punches coming in. Okay, so now we're gonna practice movement and moving around, and you know, the blocking and everything that we pretty much talked about. High guard, figuring out ways to still kind of push them back without using any type of offense. You know, got that push, block that jab with the manual block, blocked again. See that? Like, I went for a feint, and we're gonna talk about like offensive moves like later on, but just, you know, kind of just focusing on how to move around, how to block your opponent. You know, again, you don't have to always stand right in front of him, but you can definitely move to the you know, to the right or to the left, whatever's working. You see that we're getting away from his jab, so we know that his jab is causing issues. See that? I'm just kind of like ducking under, bobbing and weaving. All those could have been counters, could have been combinations thrown back at him, you know. So that's just something that we got to practice. Make sure you're emulating. Make sure you're making it feel like Chavez. He's always a pressure fighter, so we're gonna continuously apply pressure and get out the way and cause some misses from him. See, he hasn't really hit us. If we decided to start doing some offense, see that? And then you can even like throw more punches, do some slips, slip into some punches. So it's just all about how you want to emulate, you know, but just make sure that you're doing things that Chavez will do. He's doing good with that jab, kind of getting out the way. I didn't really do a full step back, but I did move back, and it's okay to move out of the way from your opponent. I mean, you don't want to stay still. You kind of want to like reset and then kind of move in a clockwise direction or counterclockwise, you know, kind of just get out the way. See that? That was good. That he read that uppercut, but yeah, not the majority of the time. You're just moving forward. You're doing that Mexican style pressure boxer. So all right, let's do 30 seconds of just like offense and just trying to trick him into something. And you know, and he's a solid part, so he's kind of harder to hit. So I try to go to the bottom. I accidentally did that twice at top, but what I was trying to do was that, yeah, bottom and top. That's what he does. That's what Chavez does. He does like these like straights, but you know, just trying to let you know, like mixing that up with the blocking aspect. Trying to catch something. Yeah. So yeah, it's just about trying to read your opponent, of course, predicting. Can't really predict the AI. The AI can go crazy sometimes, but seeing that slip and just you gotta capitalize when you see something open. So see that? That was a slow hook. I don't know why I think the game's a little sluggish right now, but yeah, you see that like bottom top. You gotta make sure you're utilizing that left hook, since you have liver destroyer too. You want to go to that body. So yeah, things that we'll cover. But yeah, that's pretty much sums it all, man. I appreciate you guys tapping in. You already know what time it is. It's your boy J Soul, and this is SPB Sim Premier Boxing, and I appreciate you guys tapping in. The emulation and simulation does not stop. We're gonna keep getting these wins, baby. So appreciate y'all, man. One love. I thought I had that. I thought I had that one. Peace, guys.